If you're thinking about moving and buying another home, but you already own a house now, you might be considering making that into a rental property. Maybe you've seen it on social media, maybe you have friends that do it. I've even done that by myself. But based on some recent conversations, I want to give you some things to consider where you might choose not to do that. Number one, every dollar you don't put down on that next purchase, you're borrowing at today's rates. There's no getting around it. The cost to borrow has gone up. So there's kind of an incentive to put more money down, so you have to borrow less. It means you're not paying that much on today's rates. Number two, could you be creating a taxable event for yourself? Maybe. If you sell now and you've lived there for a couple of years and you roll that equity into your next place, then you know there's very likely not going to be capital gains tax. But if you rent it out for a couple of years, doesn't go as planned, and then you sell it, are you creating a taxable event that wouldn't have been there otherwise? Maybe. Consult your CPA on that account. Number three, is there any repairs that by selling your house now, you could avoid paying for yourself? Things like furnaces, air conditioning units, windows, flooring, driveways, roofs, high ticket dollars, items that could be expensive and eat into your profits if you're choosing to make it a rental property. And if you just sold it, pass it along to the next buyer, it's their problem. Number four, I think rents have kind of capped out. Rents have gone up a lot over the last handful of years. I don't know if there is much room for them to keep going up. Same thing with home prices. We've been on a great run for home appreciation over the last 5 to even 10 years. I don't know if they're going to keep going up. I do know that if you sell your house or price your home right today, there's a shortage of homes. There's a pretty good chance you're going to sell it, and you're going to sell it at a pretty good price. Take those chips off the table, roll that equity into your next place might be the safer approach. The last thing that kind of factors into considering if you should make your home a rental or not is your home really a rental candidate? For example, my house isn't. My backyard requires way too much work that I don't think a renter would care for at the same level that I do, where it might push my value down. Meaning, it takes me an hour to trim around all the outside walls and edges. In the fall, it takes me, 17 times to rake the leaves and get the backyard cleaned up. And I just don't envision a renter putting that much time and care into it, where it could push my value down, versus I've got it looking nice and pristine, it's probably going to sell at a higher price point. All of those factors combined, I think, are things that people should consider if they're going to make their current home, that is a primary now, into a rental. And there might still be some instances where it makes sense and you can make some money on that, great. You might find the more equity you have in your house now that you don't put down is kind of compounding or makes your payment bigger on the new place, where I think you'll want to roll that equity over. If you have questions on it, if you want to go through the pros and cons of having rental property, I can tell you, and by the way, if anybody knows me, they might be saying, wait a minute, you did this. Why did you do it 15 years ago, but you're not recommending it now? And I would tell you that the market has changed. Number one, I was upside down when my homes became rentals. I didn't really have a choice to take that equity off the table. Two, I was able to rent it for a long time before even having any risk of a capital gains taxable event. Three, I was able to borrow on the next house. The interest rates were parallel or lower. So I didn't have to justify paying higher interest rates. So that's why, based on the conversations I've had recently, you might choose to list your home, sell it, roll that equity over to your next place, and just kind of forego the whole rental conversation. But if you want to have a conversation about it, I'm happy to go through all the numbers, the scenarios, the pros and cons with you. Thanks. Have a great day.